glad to see that my sons got into the business too.
So my dad was willing to let me play hooky from elementary school and hang out on his set. And then I even got a chance to stand in for, there was an actor who played her brother, and I think I stood in for him a couple of times.
But, you know, he was interested. I furthered him into it. He went on his own pretty quick, but, you know, he worked with me as an assistant, very little, but he worked as an operator for me when he moved up, because he was fortunate to meet up with, say, Billy Joel. He did a lot of music videos, which got him into what he wanted to do, and then, of course, commercials. And he hit it with his, you know, later on with pictures and films that he was doing, and I admire him. And of course, he lived in New York up until about 1996, and then he moved to California.
I could see why they were having such fun. You know, it was an artistic endeavor and a family endeavor. The crew worked together in a wonderful family kind of way. And what they were doing was fun. I mean, they were making movies for television, sort of, you know, when you think about what episodic TV is.
You know, you take Kojak, when I was doing the series here in New York, sure, Hollywood, they had Universal Studios, they built their precinct and other sets. We had the old, the precinct was in the old Port Authority building on 17th Street. And the ceilings were no more than 13 feet or something like that, which, you know, you can't light from above. You have to have light from on the floor. And you had to know how to handle it and make the thing work as well as they do in California. So it was a big challenge, a lot of the shows.
And over the years, I just kept coming to sets with him when I could. And by the time I was 13, instead of going to summer camp, I started loading magazines. His first ASC started teaching me how to put ARRI cameras together and Panavision cameras together, and I didn't want to go to summer camp after that. Every summer was spent working on TV commercials or movies or whatever show my dad was working on, and it was just a great experience. And
so every film or every script denotes what it should look like, and you have to try to translate that. And that's where the visualization of the picture goes, and so you have to handle it accordingly.
There were only a handful of really innovative cinematographers in, say, the 60s and 70s that broke away from the Hollywood style of doing things, and there were a couple of Hollywood cameramen that did the same thing too, that they were willing to break away. But by the 80s, music videos just really showed everyone that there are no rules.
I know they say style. I mean, you know, Gordy Willis with The Godfather, but that was Godfather. He didn't do it with every picture, you see.
I mean, he scared the hell out of his producers on The Godfather with all the heavy top lighting. It was very dark. His exposures were right on the edge. He was a contemporary of my dad's. They worked together as assistants, and my dad was always quick to say, you know, look what he's doing. You know, we'd go see The Godfather together, and he'd be pointing out, you know, how the room was left dark and where the exposures were, and it was fascinating.